It is 5 p.m. We are just about to get started with the policy work session. Just verifying that we have Director Cook online.
Yes, I'm here.
Great, and you can hear audio.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Good evening. It is 5:01, and I am calling this work session to order. This is a special meeting of the Kent School District Board, which is held in public to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this special meeting is a policy work session. We will begin with doing a roll call for attendance. I will call each board member's name, and if they are present, they will say present. Director Cook?
Present.
Director Williams?
Present.
Director Song? Director Song is not here. Vice President Gregory?
Present.
And I am present. We will start off our policy work session by calling on Superintendent Vela. Before we do, I do see that we have some friends here with us today, and so I think I would like to be able to move around the different policies that we have and just make sure that we are starting with anything to do with finance today. And so we can best utilize our finance partners that have joined us tonight so graciously after a day. And so Superintendent Vela.
Thank you, President Margell, members of the board. I always start off by thanking the board for their governance, in particular around policy. You've done a great job over the years. I know that I've been superintendent and continue to do so, so really appreciate that work. And without further ado, I'd like to call on Ms. Hawley, our policy coordinator, to begin the evening.
Good evening, President Margell, members of the board, Superintendent Vela, and Ms. Curry. Tonight we have all finance policies except one, and the last one we'll get to would be the board policy. So with the 1000 series. So we're going to start with just a quick run through on the PowerPoint as normal, talking about the different policy classifications. For those who aren't aware, there are 3 different types. We have policy 6114, gifts or donations, first reading. 6120, investment of funds, first reading. 6213, reimbursement for travel expenses, also first reading. Policy 6214, employee recognition, first reading. 6225, use of electronic signature, first reading, and this is the only policy that's new to the district tonight. 6240, food and beverage consumption, and 1760, this is our board member, electronic communication and social media. That social media part has just been added on. So we are going to start with 6114, gifts or donations. Let me pull it up. So the update to this includes 3 new key features. The first is that the policy language suggested by OSPI's Office of Equity and Civil Rights during its recent federal program compliance review audits. The policy now includes language in alignment with state non-discrimination regulations, noting that booster club donations cannot result in unacceptable levels of disparity favoring one team or gender. The second update addresses teacher-solicited donations to the district through crowdfunding organizations such as Donor Choose. This group allows public school teachers to post requests for funding of their classroom projects. New policy language requires prior district approval for these solicitations so that administration has some measure of control over the process. Again, disparity of resources is the common concern here. And the final update provides clarity to the section on gifts to staff in the policy. Also, we are wanting to change the dollar amount that has to be approved by the board. The intent here is to remove barriers to spending. Under current board policy, all donations of $500 or greater must be approved by the board prior to using the funds. Increasing the threshold for board approval allows schools and departments to spend the funds more immediately. All cash equivalent donations of $250 or over, up to $9,999.99, would be provided to the board on the informational section of the regular meeting agenda. And for comparison, other districts, Renton School District has $250, Lake Washington, $5,000 or more, Puyallup, $5,000 or more, Federal Way, $5,000 or more, Highline, $10,000, Tacoma, $50, Seattle, $250, Auburn and Bellevue, it's up to the superintendent. So the other thing about this is the IRS states that the recipient organization is not responsible for valuing the items that are donated to them. So Kent School District would not value what somebody says they are giving to us. They would do that themselves. We just provide a receipt of what they've donated. So with that, are there any questions about the update to this policy?
I do have a question. My question is around, and it's not specific in here, it could be under another policy, it's the tax. So, when we get donations or there's tax associated with them depending on the value. So I know we talked about the 250, but that was my concern. Are we taxed on those items? Do we have to pay tax on those items? When you get a gift, like if you win on a game show and Oprah gives you a car, you actually have to pay the tax on that vehicle. You have to pay the tax on the cost of whatever that is. So are we paying taxes, or is that a tax exempt donation?
Director Gregory, thank you for your question. We would not pay any taxes on donations to the district.
Okay. Thank you.
I just had a question about the gifts to staff section. I have little kids myself, and I know like kindergarten, they don't always know how to write letters. Could we add something in about maybe like student created art or something about that? So and I see it's already in there.
Yeah,
Look at that.
actually, per your suggestion, that line has been added in.
My
I had
question,
a question, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're fine. Go ahead, Director Cook.
So I had a question on the section that says, all gifts will become district property and will be accepted without obligation relative to use and or disposal. Are we not concerned that that could lead to less donations because people want to direct them towards a particular issue that they find important? I know a lot of people donate towards booster clubs, they donate towards orchestra, or they donate towards, any number of the different things. And if they know that whatever they do provide can be spent however the district wants, they might be less likely to donate at that point.
Director Cook, I will say that we do have language in the procedure that addresses this. We, as the district, we do our very best to honor the intent of the donation from the donor. And there are very rare instances where that wouldn't go towards the original intent. Sometimes we might receive funds in excess of what is needed. And so maybe a school would choose to redirect some of those excess funds. But that's the only situation that I can think of where that might come into play.
I assume that people would still be able to donate with the caveat that if it is not going to be used for what they are wanting it to be used for, that they are returned said money.
Usually not.
Usually, we do not refund donations to the district. Once donations are deposited and accepted, they become the property of the district.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I think that's gonna chill people donating. I mean, it already makes me a little concerned personally, just because there are things that are important to me that I want to see provided benefit to, and the idea that is not that we have language like this that is going to allow for, because I understand you might have a procedure, but that doesn't, our board isn't directing you in that way. That's a choice that is being made outside of the board. So I don't know why our board isn't stating that or giving some sort of guidance for it, because it just, all it says is all gifts will become district property. And I don't know, that seems a little awful.
It's really scary
language that you would see in a 501c3 or any other organization that's receiving gifts. I can give an example that I've seen before. Somebody donated funds to a college because they didn't like the bathrooms where their classes were, and so they donated a certain amount to redo the bathrooms. Well, the amount that they donated weren't enough to do a bathroom. And so that's, the donation becomes for that. Now you can try to do as best as you can, but just making it so somebody can only use funds, it goes to the organization, and the organization needs to be able to have the ability to put it where it's the area of most need and most appropriate. So this is really common. In fact, I would say that I don't know an organization that doesn't do it this way. So I think that anybody donating should know this.
Well, and I appreciate your comments there. When you say need, how long have we had this policy without this language? Because that seems like we haven't needed it.
I'm sorry, area of most need for the district. Like if there's a,
No, I meant that you were saying that we need to have this policy in place.
that's not what I
to be
said. I
able
said that it's up to the district to
Okay.
give the funds to the area of most need.
Of most.
Okay, so we don't need this, it's just something that we want to do.
No, I think it was in the
Am I
original,
understanding that right?
I think it was in
Pull up the other one.
correct me if I'm wrong, but Pam, it was in the original policy from 1994, correct? That same language.
Here's the language from 2021. It's more about us not being under obligation to accept anything, but I don't see the line in there that we have in there now.
Can I add, it may be under current procedure, but our current donation agreement form that the district currently utilizes does have this language. So
That, I thought I've seen it somewhere, so I thought it maybe was, okay. So I
Right,
have
so-
seen it when I've donated. That's where I've seen that language, because I thought I've seen that
Right.
term. That's why I thought it was in the original. Okay, so it is in the current,
a donation agreement
Donation agreement
that
form.
we use.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And WASDA does
That's
use this
kind of
language.
problematic.
It's in WASDA's model policy.
And it's in the WASDA model policy, that same language?
Yes.
Yeah, but we don't always do that, because look at our policy with the board communications. That's not in WASDA, so you don't have to follow WASDA.
We don't have to, but they're basing their language on legal and other,
Yeah, and
trying
they
to-
didn't use that for board communications, so if we're gonna ignore that, I don't know why we need to pay attention to this one.
I think it's appropriate for the district to have that in there. I think it's common.
I understand it might be common. I don't think it's necessary,
If,
obviously, because we've been dealing with it the way it is for however many years. and
Well,
we've
no,
been doing just
again,
fine.
it's on our donation form today.
I understand that, but that's not board policy. That is the district going outside of board policy. So I don't, that to me is actually problematic, because that tells me that we directed things in a certain way. The board indicated they wanted things done in a certain way, and they weren't. So I guess maybe the rest of the board isn't interested in the financial aspect of not following what the board wants to have done, but I am.
I would say, having been the recipient of a gift as a teacher, it came with the expectation that I would give their student an A. I was very fortunate to work in a district where there was a policy that said I didn't have to do that. I think that this helps protect some of our staff with the obligation piece. That's how I
Well,
read this.
we already are not obligated to take the donation though. So it already says that.
It seems to be common language. It's in WASDA's model policy. Other districts have it. It seems to be common language.
I think it's the best.
I really don't like
Protection for the
hearing
district.
that it's common language. That's
It is in our
something to me.
current
I don't
board
really-
procedure
It doesn't
as well.
bother me that we have something that's not common language. If it's common language, so like just because everyone else does it doesn't mean that it's the way we should do it.
Ms. Davis, could you repeat that?
Sorry. Yes, thank you. It is language that is currently in our board procedure.
I
And on the
understand,
donation
that means
form?
that you're going outside of what the board policy states, which is. I'm
No, the
not
procedure's
super
just-
keen on.
Procedure and policy are in tandem with each other, but the procedure does give
The procedure is
specifics.
not following what our guidance is here.
No,
The
but-
guidance currently states something different than what you're saying. And to me, that's a problem because that means we didn't have a discussion with our board beforehand. And right now, if we decide to go through with this and our procedure changes accordingly, that's appropriate. But when we have administrative staff deciding whether or not they want to follow the policies that are set before them, that seems problematic.
What is your proposal here in terms of changing the language so that you would feel more comfortable with it?
I don't like the idea that we are going to tell parents that they can't indicate where they would like their donations to go. I think that will end up causing money to go not to our district and go to other organizations. And that might be good for those other organizations, but it's not good for us.
They can indicate where they want it to go.
But
Yeah, they can
Donald,
indicate it, but it says right here explicitly that all gifts will become our property and will be accepted without obligation relative to use and or disposal. So if that's the case, and we're spelling it out in policy, we're not putting this in procedures, not in some other place where we can say, oh, well, it wasn't something that we intended. This is our board intending for this to be the case.
so how do you want it to change? What is it that you're asking to have changed here? That's what
I
I'm
would just
unclear
remove
about.
that sentence.
You want to remove the sentence?
I think that sounds like a logistic nightmare. If somebody says that they want to use this to only buy Crayola crayons, but the school really needs Crayola pencils, let's,
How much of a nightmare has it been so far? Just if I
again,
could
we
get an answer
have
on
this in
that
our
from
procedure and we follow by it currently. We're just
Okay.
And it's on the
making it,
donation form.
yeah, and it's on the donation form. We're just making it even more formalized
Harder
and
for
putting it
people
into the
to
policy
donate.
because it's been in our procedure and in our working documents.
Okay. Hey, I mean, you're welcome to pass it through and vote on it.
Sounds good. Like, I think, is there any other questions about that? I guess my only question that I had was, and thank you for the clarification about inequities of donations that come in. There's difference of equality and equity, right? Like there's some programs that just the nature of whatever the activity is more expensive than others. There's ones that have more students on it than others. Could you talk a little bit about, is that specified in procedures about how that's looked at? Because I'm sure there has to be a way that we look at it to make sure that we're,
I don't think it's addressed specifically in procedure currently, but I think it's part of, as we accept donations, the administrator who is overseeing that school or department would be looking at that to ensure that it doesn't create like a Title IX issue. I know that that's definitely something like our athletics
It's also-
department looks
sorry.
at, our school, go ahead.
It's in Chapter 392, 190 of the WAC, so it's non-discrimination regulations that I think we would be following.
okay.
I'm also a little concerned with this $10,000 limit. I mean, when we're talking, what is that? 40 times the amount that we, or no, 20 times the amount that we had before, right? That seems pretty drastic change. We've made it so far with only having $500 limit. And I think it's important that we look at our finances. There's a possibility that one of the reasons we are in the situation we are with our budget is that our board is not appropriately watching our finances. And this would be a way for us to abdicate our role some more. And I don't really like that.
Are you saying that the amount should be lower that we need to approve?
Yes, like right now, we have to approve anything that's over $500. And
So-
somehow we've made it through. Doesn't
And-
seem like it's.
Yeah,
made
just
this
because we've
thing
made it through doesn't mean
particularly
that we can't do
difficult.
it better. Just know that the amounts for any donation, we can still have them in the informational section of the board. What it allows, though, is whomever is accepting the donation, that they can start using the funds earlier. So,
Instead of waiting for a board meeting.
yes,
So I
so
wanna-
like, you find out on the 25th that your chess club is going to nationals 2 weeks later, and so the families donate. The problem is that you might not be able to get that in time enough to buy the plane tickets or whatever it is, hotel or entrance fees or whatever that is. And so that's the issue with that dollar amount. And so it's modeled going after what other districts, and I believe Ms. Hawley listed out all the other districts' amounts, some is up to 50,000. And so the board is still made aware of all of it. That doesn't go away. But what happens is it allows the organization that's accepting them to start using the funds so they can get the kids, the dance team, the chess club, the soccer team, whatever, to be able to pay the entrance fees or pay the hotel fees or things like that for kids.
One of the things we came up with today, when we're trying to look at some of the ways that this would be applicable, would be like when Costco donated all those backpacks.
Yeah.
We didn't have the board meeting right away.
It was like 4 weeks later or
Yeah,
something.
and-
Because they did it and we weren't having a meeting until like the end of August or
Right.
something.
And so in this instance, if we do it this way, they can make use of the backpacks right away, but the board's informed with everything $250 and above, which is $250 higher than we're doing right now. I mean, lower, but letting the board know, $250 lower. Everything's
more
documented.
Oh,
From
okay.
250
So wait a
on.
minute. Wait. I want to be clear then. So previously, I just want to be clear. Previously, it was $500.
Correct.
Okay. Until it hit the $500 threshold, they could accept the money. They could accept the money at $499 and never tell us.
Correct.
They would never tell the board. The board would have no preview of seeing that we got a $499 donation.
Correct.
We are now changing the language to be $250. We have to be notified right away, but you can use the funds right away as well. And then we're setting the upper threshold at $10,000 to then truly make sure that the money is going to where it needs to go. Because that's then a threshold where it's going to be detrimental or it could be material to maybe violating the law that says, hey, are girls and boys sports being equally done? And this would allow us to see that more frequently, right? Because that's the new law policy change,
So
correct?
anything 250 up to 999.99 would go under informational, so the board's
Got
aware.
it. So we get it.
And then approvals 10,000 and over.
Got it. Okay.
And oh, so sorry, when you were going through your example on that one. Who lost it?
Yeah, I think having the lower amount of having the 250 is, I would like to see more of the donations, so I appreciate having that lower number. And the upper number of the 10,000, I think that is a material change. I mean, in my case, when we got donations and stuff, anything over, it's at 5,000, it's a little bit lower, but anything over 5,000, we had to get approval for, right? So someone can write us a check. We could take that check, but we can't use it until we run it up the chain to say, hey, it's 5,000. Of course, then what happens is we have 3 people donate 200 and, so then they scoot it, don't be doing that either, but I've seen that happen.
And what I was going to say is I've never seen the board not approve every single donation.
Yeah, I've seen,
Right.
we've
And gift.
always approved them. I mean, I
Always.
haven't had a case where we've questioned it.
Yes.
And I will say that was part of the consideration, is knowing that it's extremely rare for the board to actually not approve a donation. And so, in the interest of expediency and allowing our students and our schools to more readily utilize those funds, that is the threshold we picked, because it seemed really kind of in the median of our neighboring districts. But again, it's board.
Do-
So
other-
one question I do
If we're talking
have,
about a median, like you just mentioned, what is the median of all of those districts you mentioned?
So, I think Pam shared that in the beginning. I don't have that right in front of me now because it's in part of our procedure comments.
I have
but-
all the districts,
Yeah.
local districts, if you need me to read them again. Do you?
No, no, I want the median. You just mentioned the median. If you're saying that the median is around this amount, can you tell me what the median is? If you, I can write down the numbers if you want me to write them down, and I can give you what the median is.
Sure. Are you ready?
Just a moment. Let me pull that up here. All right, go ahead.
250, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 250,000.
There were a lot more lower numbers when you were talking earlier. Did you leave out some?
No, those were the
all of
same
them.
ones. The numbers that she was giving were when the board was informed. So I guess we could go up to, what did we end up there?
5,000 is the median of the numbers she listed.
No, the median would be around 5,000, so we're about double what the median is.
When you average in 250,000 in there?
Do you not know what a median is?
Taking an average, taking a median. So
Oh, the
the
middle.
median was 5,000, but the 200, I'll work on that one.
And Auburn and Bellevue, it's up at the superintendent's discretion, so you can't figure that in, but.
Yes. So that'd be unlimited.
I have I don't know if we can answer this one tonight, but what's the legal risk if we don't put in that all gifts will become district property and will be accepted without obligation relative to use or disposal? And here's why I say that. So often when we get a donation, they want it to be used for, I'm going to use Crayola crayons as an example, and we buy Rose Art because we got a better deal for Rose Art and we got more crayons or whatever reason. So we picked a different brand. They find out that we didn't use Crayola. That was what it was earmarked for. If we don't have that language, what's the legal risk that we open ourselves up to? That's to Don's point, people want it to be used for what they want it for, and I agree that I want that to happen. But if we don't have this language in, what legal risk do we open the district up to? Do we know that?
Amanda, I don't know that, do you?
I don't know that.
But it is on the
But-
donation form, so
Yeah,
they
it
are
is.
made aware.
You're made aware of that, right?
Yes.
So you may say, hey, I want it to go to Sunrise and I want them to buy Crayola crayons and Sunrise gets the money and then they're like, oh, someone else gave us Crayola crayons, so we're gonna use your money for poster boards.
Right.
And that's why that language is in there, to give them flexibility without having to go back, because it feels like it's strings attached.
Exactly, right,
so
exactly.
that's why we have that
It just allows
language.
the district a little bit more flexibility, I think, like I shared. We always do our best to honor the intent of the funds being donated. And I think board procedure addresses that part of the process is the administrator that's accepting the donation is doing that sort of review prior to us depositing those funds to make sure that it is feasible. And I think, like I shared earlier, the biggest example I can think of is when our families donate funds and we collect in excess of what we need for an event or a field trip or whatnot. And so now there's these kind of surplus of donated funds. And then now this allows the district to be able to utilize those for most likely a very similar or like the same group of students, but potentially a different purpose
you.
without
President-
being so restricted.
And Mr. Parengau, I believe that you had
Yeah.
a comment?
Sorry.
So yes, in regards to the statement states all gifts will become district property and will be accepted without obligation relative to use and or disposal. I think there are two parts to that sentence. One is the ownership and the other one is the use. So in regards to the ownership, it is important for us to clarify that when the funds are donated, it becomes a district property and the donor has no further claims to it.
Okay.
There appears to be in some previous experience where a donor would donate something, but they continue to claim ownership to it. And so what we're saying here is once it's in our possession and you have donated officially to the district, it is our property. So that's point number one. Point number 2 is the acceptable use or the use of the donation. Typically, you get different kinds of donations. One is somebody will donate and say, here's a check for you, use them for anything that you needed at your building or at your school. So meaning it's silent in terms of the use. So then at that point, we determine how to use the funds. There are donors who would donate money and say, these funds ought to be used only for, let's say, intervention program. And any excess funds, you may use it for other purposes. Then we will honor that because the donor is requesting that for a specific purpose. Similarly, they could actually donate them for a music program, and we will honor that. And so those are that's the use of them. And so I think that's what Ms. Davis was saying, was that typically when the donor is clear with some letter into it, we will follow them. In regards to the approval, it is really important also to take into consideration the cash flow issue, because if the board has not approved the donation, we are not able to deposit the amounts into our treasury, just because the moment you deposit them is an implied acceptance. And so if we were to wait until the board approved them, we're holding on to those checks, and that doesn't sit into our treasury. So it's really important to do that for us to be able to get the money, deposit the check the same day or the next day, so that it becomes part of our treasury. If we don't have the approval, we hold on to it, we don't deposit them into the account.
So I want to go back to your first point about property, just to clarify this, to make it sense for me. So if I were to donate a medical bed for a SPED program, and they need a specialized bed, and I have an extra one, and I donate this $12,000 bed, because sometimes they cost that much. So I donate a $12,000 bed, but you're saying without that language, technically, I could still have ownership of that bed and go into that school and take that bed, because I'm not relinquishing without that language, the property ownership could still reside with me because I purchased it originally.
No, that's not the case. I think there are situations where the donor still claims that they
Okay, got
have
it. The
ownership on it.
got it. Okay.
It is our understanding, with or without this language, that it is our district property. However, there are times when the donor claims that that is still their property.
Right.
With this language, it clarifies the relationship between the donor and the donee.
Right. It's like art. It's like when you loan your art piece, right? I love being at Microsoft, and you would walk down the hallway and you would have these beautiful art pieces from around the world, all these cultures represented, and it would have a little placard that says "on loan from," because Microsoft doesn't own that picture. It's actually owned by someone else. They just loaned it to us. So that it would it's similar to that process then. By having this language, when they donate it to us, it's ours. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I was looking at another component of it. Sorry, just let me go back to that. I noticed we had mentioned that you're not able to use certain vehicles for this, like as far as GoFundMe and that sort of stuff. Is that language in here somewhere? Where is that at?
We do have some language in here. Let me find it. It's under solicited gifts or donations to the district. Certificated staff seeking donations for their classroom must obtain prior approval from the building principal.
Yeah, but what about like the GoFundMe and that sort of stuff?
Well, we didn't call it out by name, but that's what they're referring to, or it can refer to that.
Are you asking, Director Cook, about the platform or about the act of asking?
It's about the platform, because I believe there's some wording in WASDA's model policy that specifically states that those are not allowed. Sorry, I'm looking it up right now.
I believe that language is in the procedure.
I see.
calling out the platform.
I believe so.
I'm looking at the model language now, and I don't see something specifically referencing a format. It seems to match the language I'm seeing on here about just getting prior approval from the building principal.
Did I hear mention of WASDA's model policy having a dollar amount on it? Or,
It leaves the line open for the
Open.
district to be able to fill that out, which is most appropriate for them.
so there's no guidance on that from WASDA, is that correct?
Right.
Okay, so the purpose, like the reason that we're choosing to multiply this by 20 times, 2,000% or what have you, is because we're trying to make things more smooth for donations by abdicating our role as board members. Because, we're removing our oversight ability, which seems kind of problematic considering where we are financially in this district right now.
I'm concerned with the language you just used of abdicating our role. I think being made aware and being told at a lower amount, because it's at $250 instead of, we're going to be notified at $250 instead of at the $500 level. So we're now going to have more visibility to all donations that come in. I think having the official approval of use of funds above a $10,000 mark, benchmarking other districts in the area, which are around the 5,000, what's the mean number? 5,000, the median number is 5,000, what's the average number? 46,000 or something, 47,000?
$46,464.29.
That is kind of a wild number, though, considering there's one
because
that's
there's that outlier.
$250,000.
There's a couple of
Well,
outliers.
there's two
but,
that don't even have a limit, so.
So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think,
So if
I
we
think
add
I'm
those ones in and we
concerned.
put them at what, like $1 million, then
I'm
it throws our
cons-
number at 500,000.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I think having a relatively aggressive number of 10,000, which is a very high dollar amount, to be able to have that approved by the board, I think is appropriate. And I think being made aware of all the donations now is actually better for us to be able to see how many donations, because right now we don't see those. Anything that comes in right now, we don't see, we do approve and we talk about the ones that we're getting in, but they're all above a certain cash value, and now we would see more of them. I think that list would be bigger.
All right,
But
so
if-
it sounds
if
like
we
the
were worried
10,000
about
you're
that,
acceptable with?
our,
I'm sorry, just a
superintendent
second.
and-
Director Cook, sorry, so you're fine with
Sorry, I couldn't hear
10,000?
you.
I would be okay with 10,000, I'd be okay with 5,000, 5,000 or 10,000, those two numbers would be fine for me to put us in line with other districts. I'm just concerned that, I don't think I'm abdicating my role to have financial oversight.
Point taken and heard. Director Williams, you're fine with 10,000. I would say 25,000, but I'm fine with 10,000. Director Cook, what dollar amount would you suggest?
I'm fine with the way it is, honestly.
10,000?
We've been, what's that?
With
With
250,
the way
I'm
that
sorry,
our
with
policy is
500?
Now, our current policy, $500.
500, okay. So looking at where the group is at, 10,000 seems to be the median of where we're at. We're going to go with 10,000. We can move this one to second reading.
We do actually have to vote, you don't just choose. You can do it however you like, I suppose, but if our board doesn't actually choose to move it forward, there's no consensus, you can't just choose to do that. And it's odd that we have this, are we voting on this tonight, or is that gonna be done
No,
for?
we said that we're moving it to the next reading.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna be discussing this again, hopefully with Director Song.
Under discussion and approval at the regular board meeting.
Yes.
So you would be voting on it.
Of course, he also had the opportunity to review this, as we all did, and isn't
Of
here,
course.
so. Next one.
Okay, give me just a second. Okay, we're on to 6120, investment of funds. Let me pull it up. King County school districts invest their cash reserves primarily through the King County Investment Pool. Let me get this open. I don't know why it's not opening. Okay, here we go. The investment pool is run, it's a $9 billion fund managed by the King County Treasurer. We have our funds invested and they do the investing for us. Right now, we have an average cash balance of $1.4 million in there. But there's really no change to this policy. Some of the semantics have been updated in this. Other than that, it's identical. We good to move it ahead?
I'm okay with the change of the designee and the monies.
It's just, actually, it's not changing designees, just changing the verbiage around there being his, her to their.
Yes,
Yes.
they're there,
Yeah.
yes.
Director Cook?
Do we have, like, does this match what WASDA's model policy is currently?
Oh, let me pull it up. So this is WASDA's model policy. And here's ours again. Here's the proposed language. Almost identical.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Everybody good to move it forward? Yep.
Yes.
Let's move forward to the next reading.
Okay, we're on to 6213, reimbursement for travel. The policy is just a bit more explicit in outlining what's allowed than the current policy that we have. Let me put it into no markup so you can see it. It calls out travel expenses, gratuities, and services. So again, just outlining a little more explicitly what's allowed for travel expenses than the current policy that we have.
And how does this one compare? It looks like it's a bit longer than the model policy.
Let me pull it up. See if we put it side by side, if that helps.
Looks really similar.
Not doing a very good job of getting these side by side, but
That's right, we're going back and forth here, and
you can see.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Whoops. Okay, I'm sorry, we'll have to flip back and forth.
yep.
So do you want to look at WASDA first? There's that.
Sure.
I don't see any issues with this.
Any questions? No questions? No questions here?
I think it looks okay. I'm not sure. We've added a lot to it because it seemed like the previous policy was pretty sparse.
Right, we've actually called out more about expenses, gratuities, and services, what can be reimbursed.
That seemed to match the WASDA policy. I think the only difference is that we make it into more digestible paragraphs
Yes.
than the longer paragraph that WASDA has.
Yep,
Doesn't look like any questions, so let's move this one forward to next reading.
okay. $6214, employee recognition, this is first reading. WASDA does not have this policy.
Is there a reason why why we have this and they don't? Is it
There,
just
well,
that
there is a
we
reason
have
we
to-
have it. I actually worked in the office when this was being developed because there were questions about gifts and what could be given to staff members. And that's why we developed this policy at the time.
And this is because of tax, because of the new, this is a federal tax rule of $50. If anything above $50, you got to send out a tax form to somebody and them accepting a gift.
It's what's considered, they consider it de minimis, so that it
Yes.
doesn't have to be noted for taxes, you're correct. And it's not, they don't consider it taking away funds from the district.
Right.
This is
So if
where
you give your
we
teacher a
make,
plant or a teacher mug,
Right.
which we know teachers love teacher mugs.
They do not like that.
we do it for like retirements, like they get flowers or a plaque. And we do the plaques in-house, but we still get charged for them.
Right. So this is to ensure that they're not getting, hey, we're going to recognize you, and now we're going to send you a tax bill at the end of the year because we spent $100 on your plaque.
Right.
Is that what we're ensuring
But
here?
that's not what we're changing.
No,
It
I
has
think-
nothing to do with the dollar amount.
The changing is just because those words are involved with the sentence below, and so it sounds repetitive because they're integrated into the further statements. That's the only thing that's
Right.
changing. But
It's
this
just
is
to
really
clean
about,
it
so we
up.
can recognize our staff for the things that they do.
Without having them get a tax bill.
I don't know if it's just that, but also that they don't feel like they can't accept something.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also called out, it can't be used for cash, for gift cards. They can't get a check. It's got to be something like a plaque or flowers.
Right.
They don't just get the cash. Everybody good to move this on?
Yep.
I'm okay with this because this
that's
protects,
fine.
this protects us and protects them because I don't want them to.
Okay, we are on to 6225, use of electronic signature. This is the only new policy to the agenda tonight. Give me 1 second here. WASDA updated their policy to clarify that it's the school board rather than the superintendent who has the authority to modify, rescind, or replace the policy. We've also clarified language around the platforms that may be used for electronic signature.
I don't
So
love
did
that
we
we
have
specify.
an electronic signature policy before?
We did not.
So was it required that we physically sign everything up until we changed this?
No, but now we have a policy in place.
So this is to match us with what's going on in technology because it used to be everything you had to handwrite and do and et cetera, but there are
But if
more
it-
digital transactions now.
I just mean, if it, the reason I ask is because if it's not requiring us to do it now, I don't know why we're adding it. Like, what's the purpose of adding this in there if we've not needed it so far? Like, are we just adding it because WASDA added it?
Well-
Is there like a legal reason why this is necessary?
Actually, we are adding it because it is in WASDA model policy, but we've also had people within our district wanting to know about an electronic signature policy because of, for instance, this legal reference about electronic signatures in Global and National Commerce Act. We've been asked if we had a policy, and because WASDA had one, we modeled ours on theirs.
And we removed some pieces of it, it looks like. Is that right?
The only thing that I'm seeing is kind of the changes around the electronic signatures modified as accurate for your district, i.e. may not or shall not be used. That line looks like that's been removed. Is that the model policy language that we changed?
Right, they put that in and gave us the option of what we wanted to use. So that's why it says modify as accurate for your district. So we took that part
Oh,
out.
got it.
And why did we take it out?
It's the language, it's down below, the board may modify, rescind, or replace this policy, or is it the one above?
Well, that line in particular is just WASDA saying you can use this for your, modify as accurate for your district. That's
Oh, I got it.
why it's
I
taken
understand.
out.
Got it.
Why do we have the board may modify rescind? Isn't that true of any policy? Like, why do we need that in a policy?
I'm sorry, say it again?
The part that says the board may modify, rescind, or replace this policy at any time, how is that not always true?
That seems redundant. I would agree with that. You can
Yeah,
strike that line.
I'm fine to strike it.
Yeah.
Strike it.
Strike it.
Where are you looking? I'm sorry,
The
what paragraph?
one right below, I'm sorry,
Right below.
the second line,
Yeah.
right behind the light, it says the board
Okay,
may modify,
gotcha.
rescind, or
Yep.
replace. You can strike that. That is absolutely true. Director Cook is 100% correct.
Yep.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe we can't.
No,
but-
you're right.
Now we're stuck.
Yeah,
we-
I don't,
we've
I
done this
don't love
before.
that we put, because just policies kind of last for quite a while. DocuSign may be around, they may
Yeah,
not.
I don't like that
A vote-
either.
I see that that's in the model policy, so it's not a hill I'm going to die on. It's just not my preference. I'd rather see that in procedure.
I think you could change it to say the district authorizes the use of programs like, and then that cover, and you could list them, and then that way it could be any new program that comes out that does that.
I just
On the
don't like.
model policy, it just says like name of service provider such as DocuSign, and then down below it says authorizes the use of the name of service providers. So like I think we could probably indicate, instead of saying any service provider, that that it'll be spelled out in procedure, which does make it much easier for the administration to change it if necessary,
Yes.
because we found a better contract or
And
something
I
like
can
that.
update that language and bring it forward for a vote, and
There
then
we
you
go.
can decide
Let's
if
do
you
that.
like that language then.
Yeah, just
Yes.
making it a little bit more generic and that'll be specified within procedure. Thank
Okay.
you. I'm good otherwise.
Appreciate that.
I'm good.
Yeah. I'm good.
Okay, great.
Food and beverage consumption.
Yep. There's not any change to it at all, so let me pull it up. It hasn't been reviewed in 21 years. So we want the board to look at it. Not a
So this-
single change.
Do we have to pass something? Like, what? I'm sorry. I'm a little lost. Like, can't we just bring it up, read it, and be like, yeah, it's fine? Why do we need to? Because it just seems weird.
It just
We'll bring
updating the last review date by.
Yeah, and you do need to vote on it as being reviewed.
Yeah, I just,
might-
it feels weird that we do stuff like this, because we just have such little time, and why do we spend time on something like this that we aren't suggesting needs to be changed? There's no concern on that front, and I just feel like there are better things that we could be using our time than doing this.
Well, I think it's because it's 21 years old, maybe there's something in the board needs to look at and see, are they in agreement with it?
We're good. I'm
No, I
good.
think you're right, Director Cook. Let's sign off on it and move on.
Okay.
It's going to take up more time when we get to, like, whatever. It doesn't matter that much. It's just, it seems like we have so many policies. Like, how many policies do we have that we haven't looked at in roughly that long?
Well, quite a few, but we're trying to knock them down.
Yep. Policy 1760.
Yep, 1760, this is board member use of electronic communications and social media has been added on. I don't know if you have all had a chance to review that section that was added in as far as the social media section. But here it is.
I'm not sure what the plan is here. Like, I mean, I talked about this at our last meeting that we discussed this, and I just don't feel that we've had any productive way of saying what it is that you're trying to get out of this. Because it for one, are we not concerned about the legal ramifications if a board member decides to sue due to us constraining their First Amendment right? And in which case we would end up facing a lawsuit that we don't need to face just because we want to create guardrails. And I mean, we can, but it's, again, people can talk however they like. There's not a way for us to even hold them accountable other than we can slap them on the hand and say, you didn't follow our policy. And I don't, like, is that what we really want to spend our time doing, is trying to get people to stop talking? Like, we don't want people talking online. We don't want people talking in all these different ways. It seems, I mean, especially considering, you know, we were talking so strongly about how we want to follow WASDA policy on things, and this isn't even in there. Like, they have those legal minds that handle these things, and they did not choose to introduce this policy of any sort in any of their policies.
We also
So-
have 1801, which is race and equity, that they have not addressed yet, but we are very much behind, and I think this kind of is going to start to fall in the same category. It's something that we need to address. Part of it is it's prevention of violation of OPMA, it's violation of our own policy and about
That's like
public
saying we need
comment.
to create a law that says I can't stab someone. That's ridiculous. Of course I can't. Like, doing something because there's a law, like, where does that end? How many different laws are we going to protect ourselves from by creating additional policies? Like that, that's not a good reason for creating a policy. We already have OPMA. So if someone breaks OPMA, that's a problem. And the thing is, you can't break OPMA individually. OPMA is a requirement that has to do with things that involve more than one board director. So even when you're talking about this, that OPMA doesn't apply.
That's why this
Unless
is
you're talking
only
about the
during
board as a whole, in
board
which case we're already
business.
talking about everyone.
Director Williams, was there something that you want to add?
I would just say, I had a couple thoughts here. Firstly, and I'm no lawyer, but I do know that First Amendment rights become restricted in a few different situations, including hate speech, as well as when you become an elected official, your First Amendment right does become restricted. I also think that this policy does protect the board in regards to OPMA, especially with the social media piece, because there can be serial interactions in that way. And the last piece that I would say that I like about this policy is that I think it keeps board business in a public setting so that during our open meetings, all information that is provided to the board is public and transparent. And I don't feel that that has always been the case.
Okay, can I ask a question of our board? Has anyone, and this includes all of our board members as well as our superintendent, has anyone used their personal devices to communicate with someone about district business in any way? And I'd appreciate it if everyone actually answered this.
No, I
mean, I
No,
can
wait,
address
I
each
would
of
like
you
a
if you like.
clarification. Are you asking, are we on our personal device discussing board business with anyone, like our family, our friends, or another board member? Or are you asking, we're using our personal devices in that way? Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, I'm asking if you've talked about anything to do with the district with anyone. I mean, it would be anyone, because anyone you talk to is going to be part of that.
Could you answer that question first then? Will you go first and ask, I'm going to ask you, have you used your device, personal device?
Yeah, I've
to
talked to
discuss-
you on my personal device, so of
Correct?
course.
Have you used it recently?
I mean, probably. I would have to go and look, but are you not willing to answer the question yourself?
Well, no, I'm happy. You can come look at my personal device. I'll share it with you directly if you would like to see it, because the
Oh, it's
answer
not
is.
me that's interested. That's a public interest, not mine.
Okay.
But I'd like to
I'm
hear
so-
from our other board directors as well.
I'm so
If
sorry.
they're-
It is 6
If they're not
p.m.
willing to answer that question,
It's
then,
not that we're
you know,
not
this
willing to
whole
answer the
policy
question.
is
One,
gonna be
it's not
problem.
germane to the topic right here now, but it's 6 p.m. We will take this one back up, and we can continue on this with our next policy work session. It is now 6 p.m. We are adjourning this work session. The work session is adjourned for an executive session for 30 minutes. The purpose of the executive session is to discuss the performance of a public employee, potential litigation, and the legal or financial risks of a course of action. We will see you back here at 6:30.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Amanda.
It is 6:30, and I am calling our regular meeting to order. Our executive session adjourned at 6:28 PM. Board members in attendance for the executive session were Director Williams, Director Gregory, and myself in person, and Director Cook online, and Director Song was not in attendance. I am calling our regular board meeting to order, and we will start with roll call to take attendance. Roll call for attendance. I'll call each board member's name, please, and enter or say present to indicate your presence. Director Cook? Please indicate that Director Cook is absent. Director Williams?
Present.
Director Song is absent. Vice President Gregory?
Present.
And I am present. Director Gregory, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Before I go through all of my language that we normally start with our meeting, just know that there has been some warnings of high winds tonight, and so there was messages sent out to all KSD staff today about that. We will get regular updates from our safety services throughout the evening if anything changes. We do have generators here, but of course, with anything, if you feel unsafe, please, of course, know that we are also streaming this live and can be viewed remotely or after the fact. So we just want to make sure everybody stays safe. And so welcome. This is a meeting of the Kent School District Board, which is held in public to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. We welcome the public's participation in this board meeting and thank those of you who have come to this meeting and those who are viewing via our live stream. The purpose of a board meeting is for the board to conduct its business in public. During the meeting, the board will listen to but not respond to comments from visitors. Whether made verbally in person, verbally on video, or written, comments are limited to a total of one per person per regular board meeting. One additional comment per person may be submitted for a public hearing topic if there is a public hearing on the agenda. All forms of public comment are subject to Chapter 4256 RCW Public Records Act. The public may comment at regular board meetings in a manner authorized by state law. All comments must adhere to Policy 1420 and Procedure 1420P. If you wish to make a comment to the board, comment forms are available for completion prior to the meeting and must be turned in no later than the beginning of the legislative report. I do not believe that we have a legislative report this evening, and so I will just indicate when that would be within our board topic. I'll make sure it's abundantly clear. No forms will be accepted once this report has begun. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Public comments will be heard after the agenda review. Students will be the first to speak on any topic during the student voice portion of the agenda, which takes place immediately following this opening. General public comments from non-students will be heard during preliminary communication from the audience. Any remaining comments, whether from students or non-students, will be heard at specific agenda items and during final communication from the audience. Student comments will be heard first on any topic. Please state your first and last name prior to the beginning of your testimony. I will do my very, very best to try to read the handwriting to call up people, but please feel free to correct me if I do not pronounce your name correctly. It does matter to me that I hear it correctly. Abuse of public comments personally directed towards the board, staff, or students will not be tolerated. The use of specific names or personal identifiable information of board, staff, or students is not allowed. Board members or KSD staff members may interrupt or terminate an individual statement when not adhering to Procedure 1420P. All comments, whether verbal or written, must adhere to the standards of civility as defined in Policy 1400, Meeting Conduct, Order of Business, and Quorum. If you're seated in an overflow room, there's a brief delay in the live stream audio. We will allow extra time for you to make your way to the boardroom after your name is called. We also have plenty of room in here tonight, so please come join us. Individuals with items for the board or superintendent must provide the items directly to safety services staff. Approaching the dais during the board meeting is not allowed. Any items turned in will be provided to the board and superintendent following the meeting. Director Gregory, you get to be on the hot seat tonight. You get to do leading everything. Will you please read our land acknowledgement?
The Kent School District Board of Directors acknowledges we reside on the traditional lands of the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe who have lived in this region since time immemorial. We honor their continued stewardship to this land, its waters, and its communities. We commit to ongoing learning, meaningful partnerships with Native communities, and uplifting the sovereignty of the Muckleshoot people.
Thank you very much. We will start with item 1.07, agenda review. Superintendent Vella, are there any changes to the agenda?
President Margill, there are no changes to the agenda.
Is there a motion from the board?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second?
A motion's been made and seconded for approving the agenda. We are now open for discussion. Seeing as none, there's a motion on the floor for approving the agenda as written. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 3-0. Our first section is student voice. Do we have?
President Margill, we do not have any student public comments, and we do not have any student online comments.
Thank you very much. We will move to section 3.0, preliminary communication from the audience.
President Margill, we have 5, and there they are. And 3 videos.
Thank you very much. Our first speaker that I'll call up tonight is Dan Perky.
Hi, my name is Dan Perky. I'm here again tonight to continue my crusade to fix the 60% failure rate in math performance to grade level, which we all agree is unacceptable. My issue is the lack of action to fix this issue. If actions don't reflect the principle, then the principle is worthless. So much hot air. Words will not fix the problem, only action will. The question is what different actions are being taken with the express, overt goal of directly improving that 60% number. What's so puzzling to me is that I'm meeting with either indifference or active resistance to my call for the board or administration to do something different. As one excuse for not taking action, I've been told that significant changes to the curriculum require intense study and collaboration among many different people and departments using the course design, selection, and adoption procedures. Perhaps I've not been clear with my request. All that I'm asking for is a simple 15-minute test in 2 random 4th grade classes that can be implemented at the teacher level. I'm not asking for radical wholesale changes to the curriculum, at least not yet. We only know that the current curriculum, is producing a 60% failure rate. We don't have any data on the specific root causes of that 60% failure rate. My proposal allows us to all start to at least get some of that specific data to begin to formulate what specific steps might be taken to directly improve that 60% failure rate. While it may not be typical for the board to intervene with a directive to conduct such a test, it's well within your discretion to do so. Aren't you curious to actually know with proof in the form of data if students are proficient in multiplication tables? Everyone seems to be assuming that the proficiency exists, yet seems to be afraid to actually test for it, perhaps because they fear having to admit they're wrong. Again, let me be clear. I'm not asking for a whole new curriculum adoption, yet. I'm asking for a simple 15-minute test to help us focus on root causes for the 60% failure rate. The longest journey begins with but a single step. In this case, the single step is a 15-minute test. Assert the power you were elected to responsibly wield. Take an atypical action. Step outside of the box. Order this experiment to get some data. I remain available to help if only you will ask. I have a skill set that may be unique to complement this process. Let's work together to solve this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perky. Our next speaker is Jill De Laurenti.
Does this work? It doesn't need adjustment. There we go.
Yes.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Vela.
My name's Jill Dolorenti, and I've been a KSD employee for the past 18 years. And I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of over 345 KOP employee members in the district. We are the skilled, dedicated people who keep this district running day in and day out. We understand the district is facing a budget deficit. We know that difficult decisions have to be made, but we are asking you tonight to look at the human impact of the specific cuts you are considering and to look in other places for savings that you need. You're currently looking at cutting hours and eliminating positions in our bargaining unit. I'm here to tell you, with all due respect, you are looking in the wrong place. Our members are the first face a parent sees when they walk into a school, the first voice when they call. We are the ones comforting a sick child in the health room while we wait for a guardian to arrive. We manage the complex records that bring in state funding. We ensure that special education students get the support services they are legally entitled to. We are the ones tracking every purchase order and every dollar, making sure we are compliant with state law. If you cut our hours, our positions, you are telling us that the work we do in that final hour of the day, the filing, the data entry, the preparation for the next day, none of it matters. If you eliminate positions, you will overload the remaining staff, leading to burnout and potential errors along the way. The work won't disappear. It will simply not get done. And when that happens, the burden falls on our principals, our teachers, and ultimately, our students and families suffer. We see how this district spends money and who it spends the money on, and it's not our group, not by a long shot. We ask you tonight, please look elsewhere. Look at the money spent on outside consultants. Look at administrative travel and conference costs. Look at the contracts you have with outside vendors before you slash the hours of the people who live in this community, who pay taxes here, whose children attend our schools. We are not just a line item. We have kids in college. We have mortgages and rent. Some of us are sole providers for the household. We are here to ensure that statements like attendance matters and safety first really have some value. We are your partners in education. We're asking you to value our contributions, protect our livelihoods, and find a path forward that doesn't punish the very people who hold the district together. Think carefully about where you make these cuts, as well as the toll it will take on the accuracy of the data, the safety of our students, and the livelihood of our district. We urge you to protect the workforce that protects your students and schools every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. DeLaurenti. Next speaker is Robin Birchill.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Robin Birchall, and I'm the parent of a middle school student in the Kent School District who receives special education services. I'm here tonight not only as a parent, but as someone who hopes to see our district continue strengthening how it protects students when harm occurs. Over the past year and a half, incidents involving my child resulted in multiple investigations under district policies. The investigations into the harassment my son experienced were conducted under the district's harassment procedures. However, a Title IX determination was never issued. This created confusion for our family about which protections applied. The findings determined that harassment occurred under Policy 3207 related to bullying, Policy 3205 related to sexual harassment, Policy 3210 regarding discrimination based on a protected class. As a result of these findings, a formal safety plan was created. However, our family has continued to struggle with how that plan is being implemented and whether it is effectively restoring my son's sense of safety at school. When investigations confirm harm occurred, the next question becomes whether the student can truly return to school and access their education safely. My son is both a student with disabilities and now a registered Alaskan Native student. These identities are protected under the federal law. Students with disabilities are protected through special education law in Section 504, and American Indian and Alaskan Native students are protected under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. When harassment involves students from protected groups, district responses must ensure safety, dignity, and continued access to education. One challenge families often face is what happens after the investigation concludes. Safety plans may be written, but families are still left trying to understand how their child will regain trust in the school environment and fully participate in school again. In my own experience, I reached out to district leadership several times, including 3 emails to the superintendent and his office asking for guidance on how to move forward. Unfortunately, I did not receive a response. Situations like this raise broader questions about how district policies and civil rights protections work together after harm has already been confirmed. Families need to know that when investigations validate what happened, there is also a clear path forward for restoring a student's access to school. When students lose trust in their school, learning becomes nearly impossible. Policies matter most not when things go smoothly, but when a student needs the system to work as intended. And every student deserves to feel safe at school, and every family deserves to know that there is a clear path forward when something goes wrong. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Burchill. The next speaker is Summer Cambridge.
All right, good evening. My name is Summer Cambridge. I am a teacher here in the district. I know the board has been working hard to control cost, and I'd like to give you an opportunity. This year, I have noticed that the toilet paper has changed at my school. They are now using single ply, which when I asked how much is this roll, I was told 80 rolls were $66. And I then went to Costco and I bought something, and it was $60 for 90 rolls. Now granted, the single ply is 1,200 sheets, the Costco is about 400, but because the single ply is so thin, I have examples too to pass on later, but because it is so thin, you have to use 2 to 3 times as much, which negates the cost savings. So, in my building this year, we held a fundraiser. And we purchased better toilet paper for the staff. I did the math and it came out to about $15 per teacher. One other interesting thing I noticed is last week when I attended the meeting here, the building here has better toilet paper. And so I also have that here. And I'm curious if we can use that too in my building, because if it's about the same price, why not? So I'm not asking for luxury products. I'm simply asking for you to run another cost analysis that considers real usage and not just the sheet counts. Thank you for your time. And how could I give this to you?
Safety Services
Safety
right behind.
services.
Oh, hello. Thank you, Ms. Cambridge. Sometimes it's really hard not to comment back. Sean Shelley.
Good evening. I'm Shawn Scheller from Suze Creek Elementary. I am the teacher librarian, technology integration specialist. Imagine walking into a library where one adult is responsible for supervising up to 30 students, managing technology emergencies, teaching research skills, ensuring safety in our makerspace all at once, because that's the reality that you're about to create. I know the budgetary situation must be extremely and incredibly difficult for you, and thank you for your service to Kent students and families and your willingness to hear from those of us working directly with children that this decision will affect. Library paras make a positive difference every day in our schools. At Suze Creek, Ms. Cox is an excellent employee who excels at her position. She reads to our ECE preschoolers each week, a service we will not be able to support without her position. Her relation with our autism students in our LINK programs are valuable to their self-esteem and continued growth. She supervises the makerspace during independent time, encouraging creativity and ensuring student safety. I have seen her personally purchase items for students and make the personal connections students need to succeed. This is really fundamentally an equity issue. Library paraeducators provide the individualized attention that helps close achievement gaps. This is documented. They work with our our English language learners, our students with IEPs, people who need extra support navigating technology, research skills. And when we eliminate these positions, we're removing a critical support system for every student who needs it most. Those very students who are most at risk, who have lack of access to books, technology, and academic support at home. Now, this cut addresses only 3 to 5% of our budget shortfall while creating disproportionate harm. When these positions disappear, that work transfers to already stretched teachers, teacher librarians, or goes undone entirely. Students lose relationships with caring adults who provide that consistent, personalized support that research shows is essential for closing our achievement gaps. Suze Creek also has a large media space that was remodeled in 1516, was funded to be remodeled in 1516, and we have a maker space. I am very concerned about safety and request that you seek legal counsel to assess whether single-staff library supervision meets our district safety standards in a large facility like ours. Now, I can't imagine the library without Ms. Cox, but more importantly, our students shouldn't have to. Before you make your final budget decisions, I'm asking you to get legal counsel for safety, calculate true costs, and third, come visit us on a typical day.
Thank you,
and
Ms. Scheller.
we will
We
show
do
you
need to end
what
at 3
you could
minutes.
lose. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have 3 online comments.
Trying to kill it?
Really, really, let's say 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Allison Riley, and I am a KSD parent. Digital Promise. Why isn't that on the agenda? KSD committed to hosting this spring convening a year ago. No board knowledge save the travel and budgetary approvals by the finance director and board president. Continued silence. Well, siloed silence at least. Schools have been told they will be getting visitors. Not many details have been shared, despite direct questions being asked, and some of the information has been contradictory. Staff are being asked to come in on their own time unpaid to prepare buildings for these visits. Students' class time is being used to prepare ahead of time by teaching them new phraseology, new classroom setups, and technology. It appears maintenance projects have been done to prepare buildings for visits. Still silence. All this time, all these resources, and our district leadership can't be bothered to create a PowerPoint or to explain the Digital Promise relationship at a board meeting? Maybe that's because it's hard to share that these school officials and sponsors will each be using walkthroughs to sell solutions and products. That the third day of the convening will literally be breaking down what sponsors saw in classrooms and how they can sell KSD and visiting school districts products and services that will improve on what KSD showed off. Maybe it's publicly hard to rectify what the district has told a limited number of people that what this relationship is versus what it actually is. The district told parents at schools that are going to be visited that this is a time to show off amazing dedication of staff and students, yet they're silent to the board and public. Why isn't the district showing this all off publicly? But what Digital Promise has shared freely on their website and what records requests from last year's convening show is that it is a time to schmooze and sell. This is a 3-day event focused on making Digital Promise money and the sponsors' money. That's the bottom line, and it doesn't dovetail nicely into a presentation. District leadership brought a pet project of theirs into our district to enhance their career and visibility. We don't know how the impact of honorariums enter into this decision, but they're almost certainly happening. So in a budget crisis, we are spending money and a lot of time on a 3-day event that we do not make money off of, and in fact, we spend money on. And the gross irony of it is that a lot of what is being showcased has already been cut this year and is being further cut next year due to this budget crisis. So where is the KSD pride? These staff and students are good enough to show off for a leadership's personal gain and to sell companies' products, but not good enough to prioritize in our budget. Maybe that's the reason why it's not on the agenda tonight. The board needs to wake up. Look at what is happening in KSD. District leadership is allowed to do whatever it wants to do while classrooms suffer. Thank you for your time.
As we move to our next comment, it looks like Donald Cook has joined the board meeting at 6:54.
Yep, thank you.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, I'd like to talk about the Digital Promise site visits happening next week. On Tuesday, hundreds of people will visit KSD schools for about an hour each, in groups of about 50 people. The district has framed this as a celebration of KSD. However, I don't think that everyone is actually aware of what is involved. So, in the absence of a district presentation, I would like to summarize what this convening is all about. First of all, to be clear, these visits do not just involve school leaders and superintendents. Sponsors attend the site visits as well. Businesses who paid their way into the convening will attend the visits to, quote, see on-the-ground challenges, helping you identify where your solution fits most effectively. The goal for sponsors is not to celebrate KSD or the students. The goal is to identify ways to sell their products to participants. And to be clear, these sponsors attending are not necessarily the companies that KSD will be featuring. Other companies will use the site visits to pitch how their products can solve problems equal to or better than KSD. Our kids are being used as tools in a sales pitch. And if you still aren't convinced, these site visits occur on day 2 of the 3-day convention. And the context surrounding these visits makes it clear what the real end goal is. Immediately after the site visits is a happy hour for informal networking with co-branded signage for sponsor visibility. Following that is dinner on your own evening, which is a misnomer because sponsors are encouraged to host small group dinners with district leaders. Sponsors host their own dinners with district leaders the evening after visiting schools and learning about the challenges KSD faces. The next day is multiple rounds of breakout sessions and debriefs where site visits will be translated into actionable discussions and sponsors will lead or co-facilitate interactive sessions showcasing solutions, discuss deep dives and observed practices, and gather feedback from attendees, all surrounded by exclusive and co-branded signage to advertise the sponsors. The final event is a 4-hour high-profile networking event at the Seattle Aquarium with more co-branded signage and direct interaction between sponsors and attendees. In fact, there's an entire menu of options that sponsors can choose from. They can pay $1,000 and get access to the full attendee list. They can pay $10,000 to be a breakfast host, or $15,000 to be a lunch host, both complete with exclusive branding. They can pay $20,000 for an opportunity to distribute swag on opening night, or $10,000 to have a video included in an email distributed to all attendees the week before the event. Digital Promise makes money from sponsors. The sponsors make money from district leaders, and KSD spends taxpayer money to receive a few days of praise. That's what the convention is all about, and that's why KSD has been reluctant to share any information, because at its core, this is not about the kids, or the staff, or any of the great work being done in KSD. It's about the money.
Good evening, President and member of Kent School Board. My name is Mohammed Safi, and I'm a leader with One America. Thank you for your time and for your service to our students and family in Kent School District. On February 11th, member of our community come to the board meeting and share their stories regarding halal meal options for Muslim students in the district. During that meeting, we respectfully asked if this topic could be placed in a future agenda so it could be discussed further. After the meeting, we sent 2 follow-up emails to the board president and the superintendent to continue this conversation. But we have not received a response yet. Our community member was also not able to attend the most recent board meeting because they overlap with iftar during the month of Ramadan. When many Muslim family get together to break their fast, providing halal meal options would help ensure that Muslim students feel included and able to participate fully in a school meal program just like their peer. With great respect, we kindly ask the board to consider adding this topic to the future agenda. Or we would be happy to participate in a work session so that the district and community can discuss possible options together. Thank you again for your time and your leadership and for your commitment to serving all students in our community.
Thank you to all the comments that we had tonight. Before we move into presentations, I just want to give a preview to the presentations that we have. Of course, these are listed from the suggestions that we got from the board about this time last year to make sure that we got them on. Next week's board's presentation, and have been scheduled for quite some time, is around nutrition. And so kind of the overarching, what does nutrition look like at in Kent School District, including all of our different types of meals and both lunch and breakfast. And so that has been on our agenda for quite some time. Ms. Curry, could you remind me what the other topic is? Cell phone, that was it, thank you.
March 25th?
March 25th, yes.
you.
Yep. But we have some wonderful presentations tonight that I'm excited to have. Our first one is about iGrad. Glad to see you here. So I'm going to call upon Superintendent Bella.
Thank you, President Margell, members of the board. Excited to have a presentation. I'd like to call on Mr. Jim Scheel, our Executive Director of Leadership Success, to begin our presentation for the evening.
Good evening, President Margell, members of the board, Superintendent Vela, Ms. Curry. I'm really excited to be here this evening to introduce our iGrad team for a presentation for you. It is really a pleasure for me to help support iGrad. I think Fridays are usually my weekly visits with Mr. Williams, and it's a highlight of my week to be at iGrad with him and with the students, and they've got a great presentation. They do amazing work. It's an incredibly, incredibly dedicated staff and leadership. And with that, I am excited to introduce the principal of iGrad, Mr. Mike Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Scheel. Good evening, Board President Margell, Kent School District Board Directors, Superintendent Bella, and Ms. Curry. I'm Mike Williams, and it's my distinct honor to be the principal at iGrad Academy, as well as with you here this evening to share our amazing school. With me this evening, I have some of our amazing staff. I'd just like to take a moment to have them stand and be recognized. Thank you all for being here. And most importantly, we have our student that was nominated Student of the Year this year, Miss Indiana Smalls, and her mom, Maggie Ricketts. Please stand to be recognized. Thank you. A little bit of iGrad overview. iGrad, one of Washington State's first open doors, I believe it is the first one, but I just wanted to make sure, started by my predecessor, Ms. Carol Cleveland, in June of 2012, is a youth re-engagement program focused on supporting students ages 16 through 21 and through age 22 for students with an IEP that have disengaged from school or are significantly credit deficit and at risk of not graduating from high school by the age of 21. We rely on multiple resources, partnerships, and approaches to help students see education as an opportunity while serving as a stepping stone to higher education and certification programs with our partner, Green River College. This past year, 52.9% of the students that joined iGrad were not enrolled in a school when they transitioned to iGrad. Open Doors regulations, as outlined in Washington Administrative Code 392-700, provide the eligibility requirements for iGrad staff to review all student applications prior to scheduling individualized intake meetings with the counselor or myself. Open Doors regulations also allow for individual programs to offer up to 4 pathways to provide re-engagement opportunities for students. As identified in this slide, our pathways in partnership with Green River College offer 2 GED and 2 diploma pathways for students. At both iGrad and GRC, the diploma pathways comprise a combined 86.7% of our enrollment. The demographics represent here include enrollment at both iGrad and Green River College. As mentioned previously, iGrad is one program or entity with 4 separate pathways. So when we look at various dashboards, we see the total iGrad enrollment, in this case 381 students, which includes 250 iGrad students and 131 Green River College students. While our demographics are like that of Kent School District, we do see higher numbers of students represented in our Black, Hispanic, and Pacific Islander communities, and lower representation in our white and Asian communities. Just an example, our Hispanic and Latino community represent 23.7% of Kent School District's student population. At iGrad, it's 33.3%. Additionally, we see a slightly higher representation of students with an IEP on our iGrad campus. 25% of our students at iGrad are students that have special education needs, while the district's special education representation is 15.2%. And while the languages spoken by students at iGrad are not quite as diverse as our district as a whole, our MLE services have increased significantly over the past 4 years, from serving approximately 35 students in the 2020-2021 school year to serving 106 students this year. That's 83 iGrad students and 23 Green River College students. We greatly rely on and are thankful for our partnership with Centro Rendu to help us engage our Spanish-speaking community and have seen an increase in enrollment, services, and academic success. At iGrad, we've identified attendance as having the most impact or correlation with academic success of our students, and something we are continually working on improving. As a re-engagement school and subscribing to the open doors philosophy, we accept students when they can attend. As you can see here, the majority of our students arrive between 9:30 and 11:30 in the morning each day. With an attendance goal of 10 hours per week, 50% of our students are attending 2 or more hours per day of each attendance session. That's not every day a week. And we're working diligently on increasing the 41% of students that attend less than an hour to 2 hours each day, as well as decreasing the number of missed sign-outs. IAPs, as an open doors re-engagement program, IAP, or Indicator of Academic Progress, tracking is critical both in helping students reach their academic goals and our monthly reporting for enrollment criteria. These are just a few of the IAP tracking metrics, with others such as college course completion being more relevant to Green River College. Both programs, iGrad and Green River College, provide this data in yearly reports to Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. With attendance as a primary focus, we're always looking for creative ways and activities to keep our students engaged and excited about learning. These are just a few of the activities offered to students and families to increase participation, engagement, and attendance. I do have to say my favorite is the barbecue and ice cream social. And you should join us. These photos represent just a few of the many engagement opportunities that students and staff participate in on a regular basis. Like our comprehensive school counterparts, iGrad's school improvement plan is aligned to the district's strategic plan with a focus on each of the strategic plan goals, in particular emphasis on preparing our students to be global citizens and expanding student, family, and community partnerships. As identified in the needs assessment activity in the development of our school improvement plan, attendance was prioritized by staff as one of the most influential aspects of student success. While our goal of 50% of students attending 10 or more hours per week is lofty, given the additional obligations of many of our students, our staff are committed to the activities and professional development to see gains in this area. Most iGrad students, approximately 95%, arrive in need of meeting the graduation pathway requirement. Through individualized intakes with counselors and weekly meetings with Check and Connect teachers, students are able to identify obtainable graduation pathway opportunities with activities such as the ASVAB, or the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, standards-based assessment, and career and technical education courses. On our Saturday session activity offered monthly is another incredible opportunity for our students to reach their academic goals. In addition to increasing the number of students participating in the yearly science assessment, our efforts to increase explicit vocabulary instruction is seeing improvement in other assessments such as the ASVAB and GED preparedness. Student and family, oh, I skipped a page, my apologies. With the addition of the family liaison position at iGrad, our goal of offering 6 or more family engagement opportunities this school year is being realized, and we're also seeing a significant increase in attendance and participation. Nearly 100 visitors attended our family engagement activity in November. We also know that this isn't the job of just one person, and our staff has rallied behind the effort to see more engagement and partnership with our students and families. Student highlight. This is the best part of the presentation, I have to say. Student and family engagement are the key to the success of our students. This opportunity to present to the school board provided iGrad staff a much appreciated occasion to recognize one of our many amazing students. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite Miss Indiana Smalls, iGrad's student of the 2025-2026 school year, to the podium to share a little bit about her iGrad experience, along with just a few of the staff accolades on the screen while she speaks.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Indiana Smalls. I was born in Haiti in 2005. I lived in an orphanage and survived an earthquake. At the age of 5, I was adopted and came to America. I went to Morris Sartoon Elementary School, Meridian Middle School, Kentwood High School, and iGrad Academy. I enrolled at iGrad. I had 6 credits. I felt hopeless, defeated, not good enough, and I almost gave up on myself. I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues and not taking school seriously. Luckily, I found God in my life, and my life changed. It was like a shift into the right direction. I felt a feeling of motivation inside of me at iGrad. I enjoyed the Open Doors program and it allowed me to choose my own schedule. I found my teachers who were there for me and helped me to be successful. I found a community of friends that helped me stay motivated in school. I'm happy to share I completed all my classes and graduated with a diploma from iGrad. From this experience, I realized I can do anything I set my mind to and succeed. Now when I have a problem, I realize that it is temporary and to keep fighting. I stay strong and hold on to my family and friends. When life feels overwhelming, remember you are capable of anything. Keep your head down, motivate yourself, stay strong, believe in yourself, and don't give up. You are capable of anything in life as long as you set your mind to it and have a strong and positive mindset. Thank you for those who voted for me of Student of the Year Award. I want to thank my teachers, Mr. Williams, the entire staff of iGrad Academy, and my family.
Indiana, I'd like to present you with this award, and I think this is a time when our school board would like to take a picture with
I was
Indiana.
going to say, Indiana, would you mind if we took a couple pictures with you? Sure. And we're all hoping that your positivity will spread to all of us. That was incredible. Thank you for sharing.
Again, thank you for the opportunity to share a glimpse of iGrad. I welcome your questions and would also like to take this opportunity to extend an open invitation to each of you, as time permits, of course, to visit our amazing school anytime.
Mr. Williams, thank you. And to our student, congratulations to the family and you, and to our staff, thank you for being here tonight, supporting her and supporting iGrad like you do each and every day. So I'll open it up for questions and start with Dr. Williams.
I get to ask the questions. Firstly, Principal Williams, it's so nice to see another Williams up here. I know there's no relation.
Thank you.
But I always appreciate other Williams at the head.
Likewise.
I have a few questions for you, starting with, you mentioned that one of the eligibility requirements is that a student has to be significantly credit deficient.
Dr. Williams, can you pause just for a moment? I want to wait till we get a quorum.
I share your passion.
I'm good to go? Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned that eligibility is significantly credit deficient. What is the definition of significantly credit deficient?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. It's a sliding scale, for lack of a better word. If I'm a senior going into my senior year, I should have 18 credits. Per Open Doors regulations, if I'm less than 75%, and I believe that's 13 and a half credits, I'm eligible. If I'm a junior, I should have less than 70%. If I am a sophomore, I should have less than 65%. On the other end of the scale, if I'm a super senior, I should have also 75%. But once I'm a year past graduation and I haven't graduated, I'm automatically eligible.
Question on so we partner with Green River.
Yes.
How is that paid? We're in a budget. I want to know.
Absolutely.
How do we pay for that?
You'll be happy to know
Yeah.
that every student generates full-time equivalent, or FTE.
Right.
So when a student registers with iGrad, and that's part of the WAC regarding the Open
Yes.
Doors partnership,
Yep.
Kent School District collects the FTE, and then Green River bills us for 93% of that FTE. We maintain 7% of the FTE to do tracking of transcripts and all the registration type responsibilities that are involved in registering the student in the program.
So Green River charges us only 93% of what they could charge, right?
That's correct.
So they take a 7% discount and they only charge 93% of that.
That's correct.
So we're not overpaying for this service to have them partner with them in a way that allows us to use their services.
Not at all, in my opinion. The 7%, again, helps to cover the cost of registration, file tracking, things of that state.
What's the breakdown between, of the 381 students that go to Green River versus on-site?
Yeah, so 250 students, that's our capacity at iGrad, so 250, and then 131 would be Green River. Each month, we are losing students and accepting new students. Losing students to maybe graduation, possibly taking a break from the Open Doors program, welcome to return whenever they're ready. So we're a revolving door. We have open enrollment year-round.
Mike, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify with that. My question was around, did I hear something about Saturday?
Yeah, so as a Tier 3 school, we receive Tier 3 grant monies to help enhance student learning opportunities. Last year, one of our teachers had the idea of Saturday sesh because a lot of our students can't attend during the week because of work schedules and other obligations. It was a huge hit, so much so that we offer it every month and twice in May to help with meeting graduation requirements. So 11 sessions this year. When you have an opportunity in the appendix data, there's all kinds of Saturday session information regarding the number of IAPs students have earned, the number of students that attended, and the activities that are completed.
Do the students have to live within the Kent School District bounds to qualify for our iGrad program?
Per WAC code, no. But once we reach our capacity of 250 students, we prioritize Kent School District students. Right now, our wait list is 14 students. We'll get through them quickly. There's one student, in addition to the 14, that is not a district student. To give you an example, this past January, we cleared our wait list, and then we're able again to take out-of-district students. But we always prioritize our Kent School District resident students.
First.
Yes.
Does Dawn have any questions?
Director Cook, any questions?
Sorry, no, I don't.
Okay, Director Williams?
You mentioned the start of school year re-enrollment barbecue and ice cream social, and I would just like the date for that.
It's usually before the first count day, which is the fourth school day in September. It's usually on a Tuesday evening, so if it's the Tuesday before count day, and if you're good at the grill, let me know.
You had us
I
at
need
ice
some help.
cream.
I'm good at the grill. I'm just letting you know. I'm good at the grill. Outdoor barbecuing, I'm in.
Thank you, Director Gregory. You're welcome anytime.
I do have one more.
Okay.
Okay, go.
So we were talking about out-of-district students, and I
Yes.
was wondering, where are our out-of-district students coming from?
Great question. If you look at slide 26, and I'll try and get to it quickly.
Slides aren't numbered.
Here we go. Student origin summary.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I saw that.
forgive me, I have to look at this while I'm talking at the same time. So in this school year, in our diploma program at iGrad, we have 27 out-of-district students, 11 in the GED program for a total of 38. At Green River, we have 19 diploma program students and 7 GED program students for a total of 26, or 64 out-of-district students as of, I believe this was January 20th. And then we also have Kent School District schools, 214 in the diploma program, 56 in the GED program for a total of 270. And then at Green River, 134 Kent School District students in the diploma program and 22 in the GED program for a total of 156 students. For the students that come to us before we hit the wait list, they're from everywhere. Federal Way primarily, on the West Hill. We have, Federal Way also has an open doors program that reaches its capacity very quickly. We bring students in from Auburn, Renton, Seattle. We do have a number of students that qualify for McKinney-Vento, so if they've been with iGrad before and want to return to us, we make that happen.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I know that we're at 250. We talked last year, I think, about space.
Yes.
And like, we'll give you a bigger space. Will you take more students? Can you talk about like why we're not making that decision? Like, why do we, having more students, does it make us more successful? It actually can take away from services. So kind of talk about that cap or how you guys kind of came to that.
Absolutely. We just talked today at our principal-directed time, and I shared with our staff that that was a stress test back in 2023-24, and we hit about 350 students. Washington Administrative Code has recommendations, actually requirements, that caseload be 75-1, and we manage that caseload with our counselors and social worker. So we have 2 counselors, social worker, that gives us 225. I take care of all the student with IEP intakes, so that gives us a little bit of a buffer, and we know we're going to lose students every month.
Right.
If we were to grow, there is a strong need for the program, but we don't have a lot of space. We could schedule students to come in at different times to maximize the space, but that kind of contradicts the whole open door philosophy. We
Right.
want you to come when you can come, and we'll serve you. Our space works for us. If we had a bigger space, we could grow the program.
But in order to grow the program, we would need more social workers because of the caseload requirements, correct?
That is correct. So if we added a social worker or a counselor, we could add 75 more students.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to grow the program, more headcount and a larger space.
That's correct.
Okay.
Seeing no further questions, thank you very much for your presentation today. I'm sorry that we had to step out for just a second. We were checking on the one ply from our comment earlier, so thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
And again, congratulations to Indiana Smalls for her graduation and thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. So I think that it's inspiring for all of us. Our next presentation, 4.02, is facility and maintenance. And again, I will call upon Superintendent Vela.
Thank you, President Margell. I'd like to invite Mr. Gordon Cook, our Director of Facilities, to come up and begin our presentation this evening.
It's going to be a hard one to follow. So anyway, glad to be here. So President Margell, Board Director, Superintendent Bella, Ms. Curry. My name is Gordon Cook. I'm the Director of Facilities. I want to thank you for letting me provide a quick high-level view of our team and the work we do. Our mission is to have our facilities ready for students every day. Our expectations are that our facilities are clean, safe, operational, and appropriate. Our stakeholders are our students, our staff, and our community. The team is made up of 207 members from 3 groups: facilities, environmental services, and maintenance. The green triangle here represents the whole facilities team. Within that team, the red circle represents the environmental services team led by Steve Fairbanks, and the green circle represents the maintenance team led by Kurt Anderson. Leslie Kramer is our environmental services lead. She offers after-hours supervision and supports the environmental services team. She inspects buildings, trains people on the use and care of equipment. She repairs equipment and delivers supplies. Tricia Garcia and Valerie Lupi Carlson are both AA5 employees who have the exact same job description and qualifications. They both can equally support the whole team, not just facilities, but maintenance and environmental services. They have primary duties that are different, but they cross-train, and so we wanted that so that, if one is gone or, whatever, that we can still have full support across. So it's kind of a new model for us. In environmental services, we have 168 custodians. River Ridge is the only elementary school with a assistant head custodian, and that's because of the size of the school. It's about 94,000 square feet. Most of our elementary schools are around 50,000 square feet. Elementary schools have a day shift. Elementary and middle schools have a day shift custodian and a second shift custodian. High schools have a day shift, a second shift, and a third shift. Our maintenance team is made up of 33 tradespeople. This team has a wide range of experience and background with an incredible amount of knowledge. They work on 3 shifts, 6 to 2:30, 7:30 to 4, and 2 to 10. And the 2 to 10 shift is for our painters because it's hard to paint classrooms and offices when people are in them. Our work. The facilities team manages small works projects for the entire district. We've been supporting House Bill 1257, which is the energy compliance standard set by the Washington State Department of Commerce and requires building owners to comply with targets of energy use. We're on pace to meet the required submissions. Right now, we have 7 of our 44 schools that are over our energy use intensity, which is EUI requirements. We're working to lower our EUIs through system upgrades like changing to LED lighting, better managing use of our facilities, and taking advantage of grant opportunities. We manage 7 leases. One is for the Bezos Academy, which is housed down at Kent Valley Early Learning Center. Another is with the City of Covington. They're using a lot that we own south of Matson Middle School, where they are building an operations center for the City of Covington. iGrad is in the Kent East Hill Plaza, north of Home Depot there on the 104th. Kent Little League uses Ryan Bruner Field, which is just east of Meridian Elementary School, and they use the west ball fields at Daniel Elementary. Recently we've added Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. They have a 20 by 20 area at Neely O'Brien where they've installed air monitoring station for the area. Verizon has a cell tower at Kent Lake, and we have a Wickstrom property on the south side of Covington. The Wickstrom family, we purchased some of their property along with the Hallison family to build Covington Elementary. So the house that they leased was theirs, and we made an an agreement that they could lease the house until they're no longer needed. We oversee the budgets of the 3 teams, and we are working on a facilities condition assessment with capital projects through FMX. You first heard about this from David Buzzard. This involves labeling our equipment and systems. So far we have labeled 4,712 items. We're in the process of completing the maps, and the next step will be generating the data to share with everybody about where our systems are age-wise, what's needed, and how things are working. We also support regulatory. Yeah, okay, make sure I wasn't ahead of myself here. We support regulatory and compliance needs, which include annual fire inspections, annual fire alarm confidence testing, annual fire alarm sensitivity testing, which was added this year, and that's a test to ensure that fire smoke monitors are at a required sensitivity level. We do annual dangerous waste reports to the Department of Ecology. We do lead water testing, which is due every 5 years. We have annual information and condition of school ICOS reports that we send to OSPI. Triennially, we complete the Asbestos Hazardous Emergency Response Act reports, and we do annual storm water management reports to the Department of Ecology also. The Environmental Services team is responsible for the daily operation and cleaning of our buildings, which includes being the point of contact for the building. They use task sheets and inspections to manage cleaning. They provide customer service to our stakeholders. They use FMX to submit work orders and monitor facility use. They do deep cleaning during the summer, and they do preventative maintenance throughout the year, which includes checking fire extinguishers, changing HVAC filters, and generator operation. They pick up trash around the grounds. They also use clean grilled building products, which are certified for use in schools. They support composting that is required by the state. This started in January 1 of 2025. Composting is picked up weekly by Cedar Grove Recycling, and so far 28 of our schools have hit a 100% target. They also support Green Schools. Our Green Schools programs help staff and students understand sustainability. They provide tools and guidance for living more sustainably at school, at home, and in the community. They can receive badges for waste reduction, recycling collection, organic collection, schoolyard stewardship, climate mitigation, and food waste reduction. And this year we have 100% participation from all our schools in the Green Schools program. Maintenance team is responsible for the repair and maintenance of our facilities. To date, they have completed 229 purchase orders. 131 have been for small works projects. Work orders are not their work. Work orders are to maintain, let me go back. Work orders are not their work. Their work is to maintain the district. This is similar to what fire departments do. They do respond to emergencies, but their real work is fire prevention. We do respond to emergencies, but our real work is to maintain our facilities. To date, we have finalized 4,551 work orders. That's an average of 76 per week, or 5 per person. We've also completed 3,652 preventative maintenance work orders. That's 141 a week, or 4 per person per week. Our goal is to move from reactive to strategic and maintain the district through strategies, preventative maintenance, and maintenance inspections. We use a 5-15-30 strategy, and that is highs are to be completed in 5 days, mediums are to be completed in 15 days, and lows are to be completed in 30 days. If anything goes over 30 days, it's automatically moved to a high, so it can be addressed before it falls behind. The maintenance team provides district-wide support. The grounds field mows in support of facility use and sporting events. We support the community partners through our facility maintenance, and we have an on-call team that consists of environmental services and maintenance teams. They are on call after hours to provide emergency response, and it goes back to our mission to have our facilities ready for students every day. Special projects that maintenance team has done is support of CTE with the Kentwood Greenhouse and repair of sawdust collectors around the district. They have reviewed the facilities condition assessment, which is a 4,750-page, line spreadsheet for the FMX. They've assisted with office moves here on the admin campus, and they've supported inclusive education upgrades at sites as those programs are added, and lead water remediation. This year, Laura Edmondson joined our team. She's a fellow from PSE, and she has worked on grants to support House Bill 1257 for reporting, lighting upgrades, and decarbonization, which is adding windows or insulation and roofing to increase make the envelope better. She has built manuals required for House Bill 1257. She has written primary reports for House Bill 1257 certification. She has connected Portfolio Manager and Energy Star, both which are energy use monitoring platforms from PSE, to Department of Commerce to support House Bill 1257 compliance. She has helped buildings become part of the Green Schools program. Like I said, she was instrumental to us getting 100%. And this work has saved the district tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm not going to read all these, but I'm going to comment on a couple. Of the 691 acres, we mow 216 acres. This lists 43 campuses. It's 44 with iGrad. So just so you understand where the numbers come from there. That does not include the Admin Center, French Field, or Kent Valley Early Learning Center. And we have 160 portables. This year, 23 are being used for general education. 57 are open, 6 are being used for programs, 30 are being used for others, and that's para offices, CBO spaces, PTA storage, clothing, enhancement, clubs, conference rooms, and 44 are being used for band, music, and orchestra. That's what I have. Are there any questions?
Director Cook?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Director.
Fantastic presentation.
All right.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Portables, let's talk about portals. I want to know, because you said some of them are being used for storage, is there an alternative storage that would be cheaper that we should be looking at? Or because the portable is there at that location, they're utilizing it and it's the best use of that dollar spent? Because
That's correct.
is that why we're using the portables?
It's already there.
It's already there, and we're
parked
not,
there,
we don't
it's
have to
already
get a
in
new
place.
storage
Yep.
unit or anything.
Yep. And although, we can't just turn them off.
Correct.
Right? Because then they would mold and
Yes.
have IAQ problems. But we do run them at unoccupied set points. So it's going to be there with minimal operation from an HVAC standpoint. And that's fine to use it for that. That's better than using space in the building.
Right, because you're using space in the building that could be used for general ed purposes, and we just need it for storage, so it's better to use it because it is there. And not, I hear a lot, people are like, well, get rid of the portable and then get a container. And I'm like, how much does that cost? And there's not a cost savings is what I'm saying. We've looked at it and said, hey, there's not a cost savings in doing that.
And the containers are terrible solutions. They're not made for that application. They're made to put stuff in, send it somewhere, and take it out. They don't have ventilation. They don't breathe, and they're just bad across the board. Years ago, we installed them in the district in support of our emergency readiness response.
Correct.
The idea was, hey, we have an earthquake. We can put all this stuff in this container, and then we don't have to worry about it, being stuck in the building. But it just didn't work out as well as we had hoped. So.
Right. The other thing is, I think it's interesting, I know you glossed over it, but we're 72 square miles, which is fairly large. What is our maintenance people are going around and doing all of these projects? Do we stagger so they're not going out and coming back, going out and coming back, and we're kind of, you're I want to say when you're managing the maintenance, you're like, hey, we're going to go to this building for the day and we're going to go do all this stuff and we're not going to come back out to it for another 4 days or whatever. Are we doing that as kind of cost savings measures?
Yes, we are, and that's a great question. So of course, first we respond to emergencies.
Correct.
And then we use a strand strategy. So every 90 days, we go and visit all the schools. So they're doing strands at a time. And when they go, they see what's going on, what needs to be taken care of, what can we fix, what can we get ahead of, where can we take care of this building so things don't become an emergencies. So that's where we'd like to be ultimately. In a perfect world, we'd be like Disneyland. Nobody would know we were even here.
Exactly.
Right, because the building would run, it would operate, it would be comfortable, it would be clean. There would be no, questions about what's going on in the building.
Right. Okay, and then I have one last comment. So you mentioned mowing, and I like to bring this up because I get this comment sometimes during the summer. Why does it look all scraggly during the summer? And I'm like, well, we're not gonna mow, there's nobody there. I understand that we mow for maintenance, et cetera, but there are times, I think, that the community doesn't understand that we don't mow all of it, right? We're mowing strategically, or we're allowing something to grow so that we can turn under the land so we can use it for something else. And I don't think that's clear. So can you explain why we mow?
Sure. We do mow all of it.
Right.
But one of the things I mentioned is, and there again, they have routes that the groundskeepers have routes that they go on. And so sometimes it's because personnel absences, sometimes it's because weather, sometimes it's because sporting events. So if we have to mow, we may have to mow a soccer field 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how it's growing, for it to be good for the sporting event, right?
Right.
Well, if you're there 2 extra times that week, then that's 2 extra times you're not doing other things that are less important.
Right.
But our goal is to mow it all the time.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That just dovetails into I really liked seeing the number of maintenance people there are for each category. When you think about all of the different facilities that we have, and that we have only 8 groundskeepers. And really huge amount of property, 1 boiler technician, 3 carpenters. I can imagine when someone's like, oh, why is my, lock not getting undone immediately? Well, because there's 1 locksmith.
Right.
So I think that I really appreciate these numbers in here because it puts into perspective how much is being done by a really small but talented group of people. So thank you for your work on that. So. Yep. I think with that, thank you very much, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Our next section is 5.0, the superintendent report. And again, I call upon Superintendent Vela.
Thank you, President Margell. Tonight, as always, I'd like to start with some celebrations or shout-outs, and then, as always, I leave off with some important dates and events for us to make sure we coordinate calendars. The first is our KSD Teacher of the Year. For the 2nd year in a row, Scenic Hill Elementary School has been named, has a teacher, the name of the KSD Teacher of the Year. This year's honoree, Mr. Joshua Barnes. Mr. Joshua Barnes, he's a dedicated special education teacher. We surprised him with the announcement on Friday, February 27th. Mr. Barnes joined KSD in 2022 following a distinguished 20-year career with the U.S. Army. Scenic Hill Principal Harjeet Fuller and Assistant Principal Aaron Martin shared their admiration, stating, quote, Mr. Barnes is an extraordinary educator, skilled, compassionate, collaborative, and relentlessly student-centered. Scenic Hill Elementary is profoundly better because of his leadership. Congratulations to Mr. Barnes. On the sports side, Kent did really well in state championships this year, thus far. KSD athletes delivered outstanding performances in the following: wrestling, gymnastics, swimming at the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association State Championship. They showed power, resilience, and undeniable talent. Congratulations to all of our student athletes. Kent School District alumna Dharma Torres Aguilar featured in Washington. Congratulations to Dharma. She's a Kent Ridge class of 2021 and daughter of our very own Irene Aguilar, who produced a new documentary on the WSU Cougar Marching Band. Torres Aguilar showcases the resilience, dedication, and musical excellence nurtured from KST's music programs. And we are proud of her as she continues to pursue leadership, community, and high achievement beyond graduation. Find the complete documentary that is posted on the district's Facebook. I'd like to remind us that Education Support Professionals Week is March 9th through the 13th this week. This week, we recognize and celebrate our outstanding education support professionals who play a critical role in the success of One KSD. The team and members are often the first to greet students in the morning, and their steady support throughout the day is important. As caring adults, they lift up our school communities beyond the classroom. Thank you to all of our education support professionals. Your work strengthens One KSD. School Social Work Week, March 1st through 7th, obviously past that. Last week, we recognized school social workers during National School Social Work Week. Social workers remove barriers for learning by strengthening partnerships between students, families, and schools. Their work includes social emotional support, crisis response, and advocacy for student well-being. We appreciate your dedication. Kent School District also celebrates creativity and equity through One KSD Art Contest winners. Students and staff across Kent School District showcased their creativity and vision of equity in this year's 2025-26 One KSD Art Contest on an annual celebration of art belonging and community. As part of the celebration, district leaders surprise each winner at their school to share this exciting news in person. Family members, principals, teachers, and staff, peers gathered to celebrate the artists and their accomplishments. I was privileged to present at the Outreach Program and Millennium Elementary School. Neat story about the Outreach Program. The student, his great-grandfather actually painted backgrounds for Disney. And I learned that from one of the paraprofessionals there who knew the parent well. So I thought that was really cool and runs in the family, as you can see. So congratulations to all of those winners. You may find photos of these recognitions artwork on our website. And lastly, some upcoming events. We have the HiCap team is hosting a special virtual family event. That's Monday, March 23rd from 6 to 7:30. It'll be featuring Dr. Tracy Ford Inman, Associate Director of the Center for Gifted Studies. I did want to highlight another event that I attended last Thursday night at KM High School. It was our early learning family event, which was fantastic. It's one of the first ones we've had, I think, this year. And it was just so wonderful to see all of the early learning providers that I hadn't even known about after 26 years in our community. It was really, really neat to see all the different providers, everything from early learning Spanish immersion programs to BIPOC early learning supports. It was just a really fun evening, so thank you to our TNL staff for putting that on. Back to the Monday, March 23rd, Dr. Inman is nationally respected expert in gifted education, author of Success Strategies for Parenting Gifted Kids and Parenting Gifted Children. She'll provide professional learning for families and answer questions, of course, about supporting gifted and talented learners. For more information, we'll be posting this on our Kent School District website very, very soon. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Bella. We now come to that part of our evening where all comment cards need to be put into the blue box in the back. And as I don't see anybody running to go do that, our next item is the legislative update, but it does not look like we have that this evening. So we will move on to our discussion and approval. Is there a motion on the floor?
I motion to approve 7.01 gift donations and/or memorials acceptance.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded for approval of item 7.01, gifts, donations, and/or memorials acceptance. We are now open for discussion.
I want to say thank you first to our community partners and each of the people who have continued to donate to our schools, so I'd like to go through them really quickly. So for the Kent School District, from the League of Innovative Schools lunch sponsor, for the iReady sponsor in the amount of $1,500, from the Project Lead the Way Incorporated, $1,500, and from SmartBox, again, $1,500, to help us defray the cost of all of those things to be able to host those events. From Mill Creek Middle School, Food for Readathon, the Kiwanis Club of Kent AM for $990, and for Books for a Readathon from the Kiwanis Club of Kent AM for $810. For Kentwood High School, for the Key Club expenses, James, and I apologize, I'm going to say Schwarting for $808. For the Cedar Valley Elementary School, supporting their physical education, the American Heart Association for the amount of $1,100. For Kent Meridian High School, the wrestling team expenses, the Principals Association North Puget Sound League donated $1,720. For Grass Lake Elementary School, the purchase of board games to support STEM education for students. The Foundry 10 donated approximately $4,000 in equipment and materials. So again, thank you everyone for your cash and for your materials donations to support our students.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further comments, a motion's been made and seconded for approval of item 7.01, gifts, donations, and/or memorials acceptance. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 The motion passes 4-0. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move to approve the 7.02 third reading and approval of policy 6625, private vehicle transportation.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded for approval of item 7.02, third reading and approval of policy 6625, private vehicle transportation. We're now open for discussion. Seeing as there is none, a motion's been made and seconded for approval of item 7.02, third reading and approval of policy 6625, private vehicle transportation. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 The motion passes 4-0. Our next section is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any board member would like to pull?
I would like to pull 8.02.
Sounds good.
I think that's it for me.
Great. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move to approve items 8.01, 8.03 through 8.08.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded for approval of consent agenda items 8.01, 8.03 through 8.08. We are now open for discussion. Seeing as there is none, a motion's been made and seconded for approval of items of the consent agenda item 8.01 through, 8.01, 8.03 through 8.08. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 The motion passes 4-0. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move to
approve item 8.02, Cedar Valley Elementary School Parking Lot Improvements Project Final.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded for approval of item 8.02, Cedar Valley Elementary School Parking Lot Improvements Project Final. We are now open for discussion.
I just had a question on the difference in cost from what the original price was and the final price. If we can get some information on that.
Yes, I'll have Mr. Scribner come up and answer that question. Mr. Scribner.
Good evening, President Margell, members of the board, Superintendent Vella, Ms. Curry. Donald, or Mr. Cook, did you say you wanted to know what the difference was between the original budget and the completed project amount?
Yeah, it looks like it was about 23% over what was anticipated. Is that right?
Yes, well, during design, we had to make some changes to the actual layout based on the location of the originally anticipated placement of the parking lot, and to accommodate the space on site, the project was a bit more expensive than we initially anticipated. However, we did have a budget added to that project, and we were able to complete the design for the revised budget.
And when we went out to do the assessment and planning for this, who was that done by? Was that done by district personnel, or was that an outside firm?
Yes, that was the capital projects team working alongside an outside consultant, Ethos Civil. Civil
Has there been
engineers.
any work done to try and ensure that this kind of issue doesn't happen in the future?
I'm sorry, which issue are you
23%
considering?
is a pretty big number for us to change. I mean, it's roughly, what, $70,000, $72,000? And so I'm just concerned that, I know the board approved it to be changed, but my concern is that the initial budgeted item should have been taken into consideration with that, and the board would have had the option to possibly not spend any money. But at the point that we had to approve the change, we'd already spent quite a bit, I would imagine.
So, Mr. Scribner, the question is there anything we could have done initially to work those costs in the future?
Oh, sorry, sorry, Secretary Vella. No, that wasn't my question. My question is what we've done since then to ensure that we don't have this kind of issue happen in the future.
So what we've done since then?
I guess I don't necessarily see this as an issue because although the project was a bit more expensive than what we had originally budgeted for, had we moved forward with the original plan to put the parking lot in the front of the building, it would have actually been significantly more expensive. But going forward, we are building in our project budgets, working with engineers and architects up front to get adequate pricing, and we're building in inflation costs and some built-in contingency as well to help avoid unanticipated costs.
Was the inflation a large part of the cost differential there?
Not necessarily. It was more of just the overall design and the needs of the building. Cedar Valley needed an additional 40 parking spaces added, and the programs have changed over the years. And so while this project was from the 2016 bond and just recently getting completed, during that 9-year period, the changes at the school also evolved significantly.
So just to make sure I understand, that $312,520 that we originally anticipated, that was done in like 2014 to be ready for the bond?
Originally, the bond referendums came from 2012.
2012, okay. So since 2012, now, so in the 14-year sense, about a 23% increase in costs?
I think it's more of a change in just overall design.
Okay.
There was obviously increases in cost, but I'd have to go back and look at the numbers for the original budget and the revised budget to give you a clear answer.
I have another clarifying question. So the 312,520, that does not include the tax that was on that at 27,000, correct? 312,520 is not the original amount because you had to add a tax to that. So technically, the original amount would be $341,234, and the final amount is $384,000. So that's an increase of $43,000.
Okay, so just over 10%.
Just over 10%, not 23%.
That's
If
a
we-
good point.
If we look at the tax, and one of the other things I've seen between these numbers is the tax rate has also increased since over the time, right? So tax is one of the factors that we need to account for that has increased since then. The design, but I think what you made a good point is the needs of that building changed. The scope of that did not change. And to Director Cook's point, maybe what we do to mitigate this in the future is we look at what is the 5-year plan for that building and potentially kind of project if we're going to have to put more spaces. Because you said we needed to add 40 more spaces than what we originally thought, correct? Or
It was
approximately.
40 spaces in total.
40 spaces in total. Okay, so I think to Director Cook's point, makes a valid point. I think for us as a district, I think what we could do is we can anticipate, hey, we're going to put this on the bond, but we're not going to be able to get to it in 6 years. What's the use of this building? And then potentially, what could the other building be used for? And then anticipate that, and we could just up level 10% into that. And I think tax also plays a factor into that.
Yes, our team is actively looking at projects and building needs throughout the district, or I should say site needs throughout the district. And as we move towards a future measure, we are taking these kinds of situations into consideration to better plan for and really hone in on the scope and the budget that we need.
Right.
Mhm.
Nothing?
Seeing that there's no further questions, thank you, Mr. Scrivener.
All right, thank you.
There has been a motion made and then seconded for approval of item 8.02, Cedar Valley Elementary School Parking Lot Improvements Project Final. All those in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
The motion passes 4-0. The informational items there are included in your,
I did have a question on the informational items. I know we have the financial statement in there. When we were at our last regular board meeting, outside of the Covington meeting, of course, we had been told that we would have another budget presentation. And I see that our finance director is here. Is there a reason why we weren't able to take care of that tonight?
I was going to put this in my board. I know that we are focusing on the budget during our board retreat, which is on April 1st. We do also have a number of, and what's wonderful about that date is we should hopefully by that time have the final signed budget from the governor.
Yes.
Not saying that the budget is wonderful, but
State
that.
budget.
The state budget. What did I say? Did I say federal?
You just said budget.
Oh,
You
budget,
just said
sorry,
budget.
my apologies. And so we should be able to have that, and so that can help lead our discussions. But we also have a number of meetings throughout the rest of the year that are scheduled in for talking specifically about budgets. And
Correct,
Mr. Vella.
correct. April 1st is the retreat where you will get the next update for the KSD state budget that you mentioned. There are changes happening as we speak on the state legislative floor.
Director Cook, did you have any specific questions on the financial statement that Mr. Perringau could answer?
No, I had assumed that we would be having that budget presentation this evening because that's what was said, but that's okay. I did have another question for legal counsel, if that's okay.
About the budget, the financial statement?
No.
That sounds like maybe something that needs to happen offline since it's not on our agenda today.
Okay, that's fine. I'll reach out later. Thank you.
Sounds good. We have no further comments from our community. Thank you for those of our community that did make comments earlier today. We move to our board reports and discussion. We will start with you, Director Cook.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I've been kind of out of the, I guess, limelight, so to say, or what have you. So I've been kind of busy working on reviewing our budget quite a bit. So that's one of the reasons that I was interested in seeing the budget presentation this evening. But I'll continue that work and hopefully I'll be able to come with some good questions and maybe some ideas on how we can navigate this situation. And hopefully our state will decide to actually, really fund schools instead of just saying they will. The legal concern that I had, I'll speak to just briefly. The fact that we noticed our executive session this evening about a legal issue and did not have legal representation or counsel available during that entire period seems to go against the OPMA. And so my concern is that we are possibly facing another OPMA violation yet again. And so hopefully we can address that at another time. Thank you very much. Good night.
Director Williams.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to KOP and KEA for being here tonight. We so appreciate the partnership with our labor partners. If I missed any of our unions, thank you also. I wanted to bring up in my board report, we are looking at a potential, supporting the WASDA amendment, which would allow Kent to basically have more votes because we have lots of kids. And so being able to help shape policy would be really helpful. I have been in contact with Director Song, asking him to please be supportive of that amendment as well as partnering with the Auburn School District's board. I really enjoyed last week's joint council meeting with Covington. It was so cool to just go back and forth and be able to share ways that our different leadership organizations can support each other. I'm really excited to partner with Covington on future events that are going to support our families and kids. And I also just want to share the work we do on the board can often seem really dry. I derive so much joy coming into this building every time. I love getting to work with the staff and getting to talk to the folks here at KSD. It just fills my cup so much. And I wanted to share with you all, with the public, with my fellow board members, with Superintendent Vela, how much I just am deeply enjoying getting to do this work. And I am so grateful to continue to do it. So that's my report.
Thank you, Director Williams. Director Gregory.
I want to say a couple of things. First, I want to tell people that when you come and do your 3 minutes, it's very scary to come and do that. And I really encourage people to come and do that because we do listen to what you're telling us. I am going to investigate toilet paper because it's important to me. But on a side note, I do want to say this. It's very important to me for this reason. I worked at Microsoft and we had towels in the locker rooms. Now, this is not a big deal because not everybody uses the towels, but it cost $1.1 million, I think at the time, to wash and do those towels. And once you got them dirty, then they all had to be washed. It was sanitary, et cetera. So as a budget measure, the CEO was like, who's using these towels and why can't you bring a towel and we're going to get rid of these towels? And he did it. And the backlash was swift. I mean, swift. You talk about way before having Facebook forums, it was swift through the whole entire, he's taking away our towels. You would have thought that he took away our food. I mean, like, you have no idea how the backlash on that. I bring that up as this example. When you come and talk to us, and you tell us about the paras, and you tell us about the impact to children. We listen to that. And when we get to those board discussions around budget, we are listening and we are taking notes and we're understanding the impact that that's going to have. And I really want to hear from I'm really imploring people to come and tell us, where are the things that we're not seeing and where are the things that we need to help guide? And you can come and use this forum. It's your forum, and I want you to come use it. Because there's only so many budget there's so many open forum meetings. And last year at the budget open forum meeting, nobody said a word about budget. Not a single person came and did a public comment. So please, do a video, write a letter, whatever you need to do, please do that. So I encourage people to do that, to tell us where we need to focus. The other thing I want to talk about is really how I appreciate the staff. I have had the opportunity to go and hang out with kids and talk to I did the boiler room review, and I love doing that. I learned about airplane glass, is why it's important. It doesn't matter why we have airplane glass. We have airport glass in our buildings. But it was just really fundamentally, it's my honor and privilege to go. And I like Laura said tonight, I am just humbled to be able to represent you and be up here. So thank you for allowing me to do that. And again, we are listening. We don't respond in the moment, but we are writing down. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Gregory. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the joint meeting with City of Covington. I appreciated that so many of the questions that we had were from the students that are part of Kent School District that serve on their advisory board, and it generated a lot of great discussion. Love hearing from our students in any different way. A couple of things to keep on your calendar. We do have the joint meeting with the City of Kent coming up on the 24th. The next night is our regular board meeting. We also have the State of the City, hosted by Mayor Ralph, of course, on the 19th. And also put out there, as I'd mentioned earlier, on April 1st, we have our retreat. While we're still finalizing the agenda for the evening, right now, there's primarily a budget focus, obviously, one of the paramount things that we are thinking about right now as a district. I also would like to, if not there or sometime soon, we received recently to all of the board an update from Mr. Behringer about our student advisory. This is something that we've talked about quite a bit. I would love to be able to give an opportunity to hear more about that and get in a little bit more in depth about that. I see a nod over there. Any time that we can hear the voice of our students, I'd like to be able to bring that front and center. Talking about budget, there is a website. If you have ideas, please send them in. KSD budget at kent.k12.wa.us. It is also on our website. Please submit those ideas. They're looked at. That is another forum to be able to put those ideas out there. And while it takes a lot to get it to 30 million, unfortunately, every little bit helps. I had the opportunity to participate at Meridian Elementary for Read Across America Week, and I got to read to our SC class and our preschool class. A couple of my kids' favorite books. I believe we read Goodnight Construction Site and Dragons Love Tacos. I know, because tacos are amazing and so are dragons. So we got to hear a lot of excitement from the kids. But what I also wanted to point out as we're going into the joint meeting with the City of Kent, when I walked past two of the first grade classrooms, I saw a police officer in each of the different classrooms also reading to the students. and introducing just different aspects of our community as different people. And so to be part of, their learning experience. And so just thought that that was really cool. And thank you to our City of Kent and our police officers, Kent PD, for allowing the time for the police officers to come in and read to our kids. And thank you to Meridian Elementary for doing such a great job of organizing Read Across America for their students. With that, I always want to end on thank you, students. We do this all for you. And we are less than 100 days to graduation. I know. So it is 8:16 and we are adjourned.